Hello and welcome to Business Class. Ahead on the show today, Hong Kong Airlines introduces specialty flight attendants to help parents with restless children on the flights. We'll put a spotlight on Adelaide's thriving cultural and dining scene and look at a new way to roam without spending a fortune on data. But first, Australians will be able to travel from Perth to Athens for as little as $369 next year. Let me reiterate that, $369. That as low-cost carrier Scoot Airline launches its first destination in Europe. Now, the routes will be the longest flight operated by a low-cost carrier, and it's possible thanks to the long-range ability of the new 787 Dreamliner fleet. Well, joining us with more, Bruce Piper, editor of Travel Daily. Bruce, great to have you on the program.
Thanks, James.
369, are you standing?
No. You're in economy class, and believe it or not, that's just the price from Perth. They can also do fares from Sydney. I think it's $419. Melbourne, Brisbane. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
What is this? Is this purely a sort of a market share grab? Do you think? I mean, this can't be profitable.
Look, it's a low-cost carrier. It's a low-cost long-haul carrier. Scoot Airlines is part of Singapore Airlines. And what they're doing is segmenting the market. They understand that there is a market, particularly for a place like Athens, where it's very price sensitive. Many airlines have looked at, particularly Melbourne to Athens. There's a large Greek community, but it's so price sensitive that it's hard to make profitable with a full service carrier. This is a new model. This is the new world. You can certainly still go full service, but with Scoot, you get what you pay for, obviously.
What is that? What is it like?
Okay, so that $369 fare, they call it a fly seat. So there's no baggage, there's no food, no baggage. That's right. It's carry-on only. That's right. And so of course, then you can, just like on other low-cost carriers such as Jetstar, etc., you can bundle, and so you can get I think they call it fly bag, where you get your bag but no food, or fly bag eat, and you get your bag and some food as well. There's also, believe it or not, a business class. They call it Scoot Biz, and so on the same route, I think out of Perth it's $1,099 one way. Out of Sydney it's $1,199 one way business class. Now it's not a flat bed. It's it's not. There's no lounge, etc., etc. But it's still an incredibly appealing offer.
And do you suspect it's going to get a response from other low-cost carriers?
Look, I think this is actually preemptive. AirAsia X, which is another carrier that's got great aspirations for the Australian market. Last week they were just talking about boosting their presence. They've just gone to triple daily seasonal service over the peak holiday period in Melbourne later this year, and they also they loaded a fare into the reservation systems, which was going to be from Kuala Lumpur to Barcelona via Turkey, via Istanbul, and then they quickly pulled it down as though it was a mistake, but they had it actually loaded to start in October this year. And so I suspect that Scoot has been talking about long haul for a while, long haul to Europe, and I'd say that this crystallised their plan to beat them. And so AirAsia X will also, I'm sure, be into Europe very soon.
Nothing to sneeze at, excuse me. While we're talking about to Perth, Qantas, Aussies may soon be able to travel direct to Europe via Qantas, so Australia to Europe without any stops. All because of speculation of a new Dreamliner?
Well, so Qantas has these aircraft on order, Boeing 787-9s, which are slightly larger than a 787-8. And this is an aircraft which many airlines have at the moment. Jetstar has a number of them. And what it has enabled is these long, narrow routes to operate. It's got a great range, and in particular, it has the range to fly with a load of passengers from Perth to London non-stop. Now, there's no guarantee that's what Qantas are going to do. At a conference last week, Alan Joyce was talking about this being one of the possibilities, but there was certainly an implication that this was a cherished ambition. Imagine that. Imagine launching the first flights all the way to Europe from Australia non-stop. Now, I don't even know what the flying time would be, but it's an incredible thought. And this would be part of a plan that would make Perth into a new hub for Qantas. At the moment, there's no Qantas international flights out of Perth except to Singapore, which they actually pulled that. They've only brought that back on recently. And so it's part of a network plan. That's not the only option for these aircraft.
No, I imagine it opens up a world of possibility in terms of long haul.
It does. And so Alan Joyce said that they're likely to announce the first destination at the end of the year, and they're playing off different airports in Australia, different state authorities as to how much they would be interested in supporting such a move. They could do Sydney to Chicago, for example, or Melbourne to Dallas. And so there's by no means certain that it would be Perth to London, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's certainly the one that they would, it's got the greatest talkability. Incredible.
Sticking with Qantas Wi-Fi, about 1,000 aircraft set to get this Wi-Fi, largely 100. Tapping into what the NBN is?
Yeah, that's right. Well, they've announced quite an ambitious plan with a company called Viasat who provide the links. Because we're going to have NBN all across Australia, it enables connections to the internet from sort of remote ground stations all over the place, high-speed connections. Viasat has satellites and they will facilitate the connection between the aircraft and the broadband on the ground, and it's going to be free. Free in-flight internet, high speed, 10 times faster than anything else that you've experienced in the air.
Do you think people want it? I get the part of being able to, because I understand you can watch programs and maybe stream movies or whatever, but the idea of being, particularly on a long haul flight, and you can't be contacted by work or something like that is just a godsend. Suddenly that's out the window.
Look, it is, although, I definitely was in your camp until I was in the middle of something urgent and I was flying on Emirates, and Emirates has in-flight Wi-Fi. It's not very fast, but to be able to just hook in and just finish off what I was doing and send it, it was really, really excellent. And I think that you're going to see, look, if you go to a desert island, if you want to have a rest. There are many carriers from the States now. So American Airlines has Wi-Fi. United Airlines is bringing it in. Qantas tried it on the US route and pulled it off, but I think they'll be forced to bring it back because it will be increasingly something that people will be expecting.
And is it not just the consumers that are set to benefit from this? I mean, there are applications for it from crew and pilots.
Yeah, absolutely. So what Qantas, they did a blog post last week about some of the possibilities that this high-speed internet will open up, and they include, say there's some maintenance issue, seat number 44, the in-flight entertainment isn't working. Rather than the ground crew finding out about that after the aircraft pulls up at the gate, they can ring ahead and maybe email ahead, whatever, send an iMessage to say, be ready to repair this. If there's a disruption, they can perhaps even email new flights through to all the people on board who are disrupted because they're going to miss their next connection. It just speeds up everything. You will be on the plane and you'll know, we're going to land an hour late, but look, they've already rebooked me. They also talked about other things, medical applications. So if a lot of flights, because they're very cautious, if you have chest pains or something like that, of course they're going to divert the aircraft, but they know that in many, many cases, because the flight crew, although they're well trained, they're not doctors, many times a diversion happens and the person would have been absolutely fine and actually would have much preferred to be in their own bed or in a hospital near their own home rather than in the middle of nowhere. And so this in-flight Wi-Fi will enable telemedicine, if you like, that they can have a communication with a team on the ground, perhaps even, I think they were talking about a defibrillator or an electronic thing that they can put on your chest, and that will send your heart rate down to the ground. And they say, stay in the air, get him home, and he'll be okay. So
let's move on. Talk us through Going, a website and connection tool. What is it and who's it for?
So it's actually called Going.expert. It's a move. It's an interesting idea. It's a move by a guy who's wanting to connect people who want to travel with travel experts, i.e. travel agents who have been to those destinations. So when you walk into a local travel agent, travel agents are very, have a wide range of knowledge, but obviously they haven't been everywhere, many of them. And so this is an idea where people with expertise, travel agents with expertise in particular destinations, maybe they're an Africa specialist or, the south of France or something like that, they can register on the website their expertise. You want to go to the south of France and you want to, go bike riding, you can go on the website as a consumer and say, this is what I'm thinking of doing, and the idea is that the website connects you to a travel expert, the expert, exactly.
Is it free?
It's free for consumers. The business model is that the travel agent will eventually pay a fee for the referral if there's a booking that sort of ensues.
Now, why Wander? Pocket Wi-Fi router?
Yeah, so this is like just a little hotspot. So this is the thing that obviously when you're travelling, you're spending a lot of money if you're using data. You know, on your mobile phone, people come back, they have this massive bill shock. So this is a little gadget which you can go to your local Telstra or Optus or Vodafone shop and get a Wi-Fi hotspot. This is one where a similar idea, but you say what countries you're going to go to, and you rent this gadget, and it'll work in different countries around the world.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting idea.
Is it applicable to a lot of countries, or is it more?
Yeah, it's very Asia focused at the moment, but I was having a look at the website this morning, and they do a number of countries in Europe and also the USA. So certain parts of the USA. So it depends where they've got sort of roaming agreements with the local providers.
And is this true? Unlimited data from $5 a day?
Unlimited data from $5 a day, yes. But it is subject to what they call a fair use policy. And so if you go over...
And you're just on it 24/7.
Yeah, or you're streaming, you know, YouTube, etc. You don't get cut off, but you get your bandwidth limited. And I think it's ideal for someone who is particularly doing a multi-country itinerary. In most places, if I'm in the States for a week, I'll usually get a local SIM card, and because I'm not changing countries and I've got a bit of time, then I'm able to do that, and I stick it in my phone or I stick it in a hotspot, one of these devices. But what this is great for, particularly in Europe or Asia, where you're changing countries, and even though they're very close, you're in one and your phone doesn't work. You know, the card you bought in the previous place doesn't work, and everything gets very confusing. This is a great idea.
Great stuff. Why Wanderer?
Yeah.
Bruce, fantastic. Thank you.
No problem.
Bruce Piper there, editor of Travel Daily. We need to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to learn about Australia's fastest growing cultural capital, Adelaide, City of Churches. Who knew? Stay with us.